Art is the sustenance to understand things that are bigger than us. So what happened to you?
A true story. It really happened. It happened to me.
You might find this a little uncomfortable to watch because it is an artistic expression about a real person's struggle with a fragmented sense of self. I am acting the snippet of a real life in the aftermath of waking up with no memories of anything. It was all just wiped clean. It was all taken away from me. I recently had to give myself a deadline to get this story out of me. Like I was shedding the old skin, like a butterfly coming out of its chrysalis, or a snake just coming out of its skin, or a spider, you know, because like many people with trauma, we have a way of holding on to the pain, because that's what's familiar. That's what we know. So we become more comfortable associating our identity with the horror of what happened than to let it go. Because letting go means becoming something new. And becoming something new means becoming vulnerable to the unknown.
How did you get amnesia? That's what they always want to know. I'm that car crash on the freeway that everybody slows down to look at. Everybody expects me to say it was an accident. Blunt force trauma, maybe. But no. From what I remember,
Where is it? I don't know.
it's much more complex than that.
Find it. Fucking try, mate.
And yet, losing one's mind, well, it can happen to anyone. All it takes is for someone to know which strings to pull in one's subconscious, target the synapses and neurons of your mind, which with the right force will begin to unravel itself as you watch them self-destruct.
Just stand up, sorry.
Huh? Oh no, look at the time! I'm late! For school, quickly! Oh no, quickly! Here I am. Sorry I'm late, miss.
Yes, well, as I was saying, amnesia is a narrative cliche, but it's what happened to our patient, so we'll work with what we've been given. We're looking for the catalyst, the moment that changed everything. A phone call. Prometheus giving humans fire. It's the inciting incident in the first few pages of the screenplay and the major turning point of the protagonist.
You watching this, Babs?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Acid reflux. So, these sparks that ignite change in our lives happen all around us, all the time, unbeknownst to our conscious minds. Often impossible to decipher, no matter how well we are prepared for the imagined outcomes. So, where does one begin to find itself?
Oi, miss, on a calculator.
Yes, very good. If you don't take my class seriously,
You will leave!
anybody?
At the start, miss. Oh, me, miss, me, pick me, miss, me, pick me.
Okay, but be quick.
Okay, so we're looking for the cause of the amnesia. Yeah, but there never is just one catalyst if everything is interconnected. Yeah, so I might be able to explain it better if we all visualize playing a game of snooker.
We are looking for the catalyst, the moment that changed everything. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where does one begin to find itself? On a calculator. No, come on, seriously, where does one begin to look for itself?
At the start.
Okay, yeah, and where might that be?
Oh, no. Oh, I changed my mind. At the end, but then we work backwards.
Look, this is pointless. There never is just one catalyst.
Yes, but we've been tasked with solving a problem. So,
people keep asking me, how did you get amnesia? I don't remember.
yes, but the answer is out there, huh? So, let's say I hit the triangle with a white ball. Now it's chaos, right? Unpredictable chaos. But if one knew the spin and speed and angle of impact as well as the material properties of the table, then one could feasibly work out the final position of the balls, right? It's a deterministic system.
Where are you going with this?
Oh no, let's listen to him because he's being so smart and intelligent. Oh wow, my hero. Oh, would you like a blowjob for being so wicked cool and smart? Look, stop distracting me, okay? And secondly, of course I'd love a blowjob. Everybody loves a blowjob, huh? If there's one thing we could all agree here, is that we all love receiving blowjobs.
We all do, right?
I do like a blowjob, yes.
I actually tried to give myself one once.
Okay, good. Okay, we're on the same page now. We're a team.
I think the cat's having a shit in the corner.
So can we get back to work, please? Fucking hell. Imagine when I hit the white ball into the triangle. That's the Big Bang. But these balls, they never stop, right? They go in all directions, up and down, and there's no table. There's no table. They just go absolutely everywhere. There's balls hitting balls, hitting balls, hitting balls. There's balls everywhere.
So what? Existence is like one big Turkish bathhouse. Very nice. And luckily the universe has many gravitational collapses to put them balls into, if you get what I'm saying.
Ah, can you stop making everything into a sexual innuendo?
I can't help it, mister. That's just how I was born, okay? I think that just over the event horizon of a black hole is the birth of a new universe, reassembling itself with the memory of the previous one.
Yeah, that's what I said. Vaginas. Yes, but he did it poetically. Oh, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck me. Fuck you. If we're the same person, then actually you're fucking yourself, you idiot.
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 You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
You're a stupid fucking idiot.
Idiot. Come now, you're both idiots. You're both idiots.
There are so many catalysts that led to my self-destruction. And some of them deal with the unbelievable. In fact, when people would ask me how it happened, and I shared with them, honestly, what I experienced, the events that led from A to B to C, you could see their expression change. I could see fear in their eyes. I could see that they thought, uh-oh, I'm speaking to someone who's crazy here. Because what I was saying all seemed too far-fetched. It seemed too impossible. But I saw what I saw. I don't claim to know what I saw. But I saw something gargantuan enough that it blew my mind.
As I was saying, using the laws of cause and effect, me, you, a supercomputer, if we knew where all the balls are now, then we could feasibly work out where all the balls were in the past and where they might be in the future. Ooh,
playing snooker with you is a nightmare. So what are you saying? That the patient was always meant to lose his memories?
that it was his destiny?
Perhaps.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll never find a catalyst.
Well, no. I mean, we have to find a catalyst. We need to. He needs answers. He needs answers, and we need to find a catalyst.
Okay, well, you broke the triangle of balls, right? So you're the one to blame. No, because his parents gave birth to him. That's right. And their parents gave birth to them.
Etc.
Etc. Ad infinitum. Ad nauseum.
Huh? Is that what you're saying? That the Big Bang is to blame?
Oh, fuck. That was not me. That was the Big Bang.
Order! Order! I am simply comparing the actions on the snooker table to that of the human mind. Balls hitting balls, atoms colliding into one another, neurons firing neurons. And we are the results of all the things that happened in our past. We are the results of trillions upon trillions of collisions before us. The person that you are, the identity, is the result of everything that happened which you weren't in control of.
And so if we can't alter the trajectory of those balls, and if consciousness is objectively unverifiable, and if the laws of cause and effect
are what actually generates our thoughts and our behaviors. We're just zombies with delusions of sentience. There we have it. We've just solved the riddle. There is no catalyst.
A good answer, but wrong. Like this. Has anyone asked the patient how it happened? The patient escaped a hospital and was later taken to asylum, strapped to a stretcher under California law code 5150, referring to the temporary, involuntary psychiatric commitment of individuals who present a danger to themselves and others due to signs of mental illness. So no, I don't think we can take anything he has to say seriously. And on top of that, he is a comedian. So whatever can we learn from fools? Doctor? No. This man clearly hasn't the ability to answer for himself, so we will do that for him. Doctor?
Yes, nurse?
Don't eat him.
The patient. He's pretending to be a teacher again. He's gone as far as voicing the students too this time. My God, what next? A doctor and a nurse. Ha 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 ha! Pump him full of drugs and let's call it a night. What medication should we give him? Why, the best in the business, of course. It's Zombo!
I'm not going to eat you. There was this experiment done on tapeworms, right? And basically, there was this scientist that would flash a light 3 times on a tapeworm and then electrocute them. And the tapeworm would go into a ball, right? Protect its most defensive regions. And eventually it learned that every time you flashed a light on that tapeworm, that it would get an electrocution. So it would roll into a ball before the electrocution arrived. It's like a Pavlovian thing. It eventually learned that, like, I'm about to get electrocuted, I'll sort of protect myself. And then the scientist knew that these tapeworms are actually, what's the word? I don't know, what's the word? Well, the word's not in here, is it? No. It's in here.
The word he was looking for is self-regenerative, but, you can hardly blame him. He had some of his brain missing.
I don't remember. So there's this, so these tapeworms, right? If you cut them in half, they actually grow back, right? So the scientist was like, okay, well, if the tail grows back a head and the head grows back a tail, right? Who's going to remember the memory thing, right? So he hypothesized that the brain would grow a tail, would remember the flashes, but the tail that grew a brain would not remember. Now, what they found was that actually both of those worms remembered the flashes of light, right? Which is quite interesting. And I was like, oh, okay, so it means that memory can exist within the body, right? Which is why sometimes I want to eat people. And so, and so then it was like, okay, I'm just explaining why I wanted to eat you, okay? And so then they did a completely different experiment on a fresh tapeworm, right? Flash of light 3 times, electrocute. Eventually the tapeworm learned, okay, that, to roll in the ball. And now that tapeworm is cannibalistic. So what the scientists did was that mashed up that tapeworm that had learned that information and fed that tapeworm to one that didn't go through the process of this memory experiment. And essentially, the worm that ate one of its brothers and sisters knew the experiment after it had digested the tapeworm, which is pretty wild, because then it means that, like, you are what you eat.
Hello?
And I'm fresh out of memories.
Hello? Hey! Pay attention to my class!
Hey,
Daydreaming again? What was I saying?
the human brain can process 11 million bits of information per second, but the conscious version of you can only process 50 bits of information per second.
You weren't paying attention. Okay, so as I was saying, blah blah blah. Time lapse, blah 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 blah. And as we asymptotically approach the bifurcation diagram, blah blah blah.
My favourite joke as a comedian is, what does the B stand for in Benoit B. Mandelbrot, right? No, it's very funny. Wait for it.
Good evening. As a comedian, I have to excel at writing equations that will reliably create audible contractions of the diaphragm. An individual software hears the joke, sends it travelling through billions of nerves across trillions of connections, all ending possibly in laughter. So what is amnesia? Well, it's the process of grieving not your own death, but the death of everyone you ever knew. Haha, now make that funny. The formula is tested through trial and error in front of varying crowds for data collection. The intensity and frequency of the laughter is funneled back to the generator, the comedian. Configurations are analyzed, tweaked and repeated for maximum effect, maximum evolution.
What happens when you have amnesia? And I went, well, you go through the process of grieving not just your own death, but the death of everybody you ever knew. Now, make that funny. Fucking... I wrote that 2 hours ago and I was like, this is going to be good. Alright, well, what a waste of time.
Very good. Thank you and good night.
My favourite joke as a comedian is, what does the B stand for in Benoit B. Mandelbrot? The answer is Benoit B. Mandelbrot.
Yo, why is that joke funny? Benoit B. Mandelbrot, he was a mathematician recognized for his contribution to the field of fractal geometry. It's the unfolding symmetry found as shapes are dissected at increasingly smaller scales, exhibiting patterns of self-similarity.
What does self-similarity mean?
When something looks roughly the same on any scale, like fractals, or the self. Can you step out of virtual reality, please?
I am master of both worlds. Oh, this is trippy. Anyway, explain the joke to me.
Well, what does the B stand for in Benoit B. Mandelbrot? Benoit B. Mandelbrot. Whose B stands for Benoit B. Mandelbrot? Whose B stands for Benoit B. Mandelbrot?
Benoit B. Mandelbrot. Benoit B. Mandelbrot. Benoit B. Mandelbrot. Benoit B. Mandelbrot. No, I get it now, I get it. Yeah, whose B stands for Benoit B. Mandelbrot? Yes, it's a good one. Mandelbrot. Whose B stands for Benoit.
Benoit B. Mandelbrot. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum.
The joke is stupid and not funny.
Well, it's one of those jokes that works best if you can relate to it, you know? You should have been there kind of humour. You should have seen eternity. You know, that kind of...
Why has this research become so important to answer how did you get amnesia?
Could there be a mathematical explanation for trauma? Is this a setup to a joke? No, it's not. I'm just wondering if all things do indeed happen for a reason. So nobody is to blame for anything. Very smart, my king. Very smart. No, that's not what I'm saying. Putain, il écoute pas le mec. Il y a toujours une blague avec lui. Il y a toujours une punchline. Quelquefois, il y a des choses qui sont sérieux. Well, I'm sorry if I'm just trying to make somebody laugh. Trying to pull them out of their dark hole. No, people still have to take responsibility for their actions. But if they were predestined to do so, if nature formed them in that way, then how can they be blamed for their behaviors? I don't know. Shit happens. Wouldn't it just give someone hope to carry on living if they knew that there was a good reason for their subjugation to hell? Why do you ask?
It's just that time, potentially in block theory universe, is all one. The present, the past and the future is all just one thing, right? Before my amnesia, I wrote a script about pandemic, and then all of you are dealing with it, and millions of people died.
And for a brief but very real moment, I believed I was to blame for the millions of deaths. Well, that kind of weight changes a man.
And I thought I did it.
You know what I had to tell myself to make this all better? Well, one death is sad, a dozen a tragedy, but millions, well, that's kind of an achievement.
Benoit B. Mandelbrot.
Well, that kind of weight changes a man. People have asked what I remember from before, but I can't know what I've forgotten. So I don't know. I don't know how much I've remembered. And frustratingly, memories come back through this new version of me, right? This new filter. One who knows that memory is malleable and is changed slightly depending on how you are today, how you feel today. It gets reconstructed differently. So for a long time, I lived in a constant flux, a constant war with what truly happened and what was my imagination putting pieces together to construct a coherent identity. I lived for quite a while not trusting my own memories, which is not a fun place to exist in. I can't remember where I read this, but someone once said, what was it? A mathematician is a blind person looking for a black cat in a dark room. That's what life existing between memories feels like. I am Schrodinger's cat.
Knock, knock. Who's there? I don't know. I don't know who. I don't know. 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 I don't know where I am. I don't know. Something's come back with me. Has anyone ever heard the term horror vacui? It's Latin for fear of the empty. And when I woke up without an identity, I think something came back with me. You know, like when a hermit crab finds a shell, and it's and it makes its home. Well, my body was a shell for a little moment. So then, am I Eric or am I something else?
Ah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Blah, blah, blah. And as we asymptotically approach the bifurcation diagram...
Okay, a bifurcation is when the results can't settle for one answer, one value. So it splits. It oscillates between the two. Right?
Blah, blah, blah.
With changes in this parameter, increasing in non-linearity, you can see it splits the equilibrium in two, and the bifurcations multiply into a state of blah blah blah, producing 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc. Correct! With unpredictable windows inside the period doubling of infinitely deep results. And yet, patterns appear in the formlessness.
Facades of order behind cloaks of chaos.
And vice versa.
You sound crazy, man. Crazy.
The length between each oscillation has a constant. If you divide the length of an oscillation by the next one's length, the result is always the same ratio, which is called the Feigenbaum constant.
Are you telling me that there's a clockwork precision to the arrival of order and chaos?
Precisely. It's a fundamental constant of nature.
And how are you going to prove that your amnesia was destined to be for some sort of universal self-regulation?
I'm Frank Jackson and everybody else is Mary. Not everyone got it, but one person pretended to get it. Explain it.
So this painting is based on Frank Jackson's epiphenomenal qualia. It's a thought experiment. If Mary, a hypothetical scientist named Mary, knew everything there is to know about colour, all the theory, all the way the waves interact with the light, everything there is to know. Clearly, I don't know anything about colour. But if she knew everything, but she lived solely in a black and white room, would she lack some sort of information from not experiencing colour itself? Can you know everything there is to know, but not actually experience it? And the idea is, if he lets her out, would she discover anything new? And I was inspired to paint that because it's quite challenging to truly explain something that feels otherworldly, supernatural, whatever words you might want to use, to someone who is incapable of believing it because they are stuck in a black and white room. And that's sometimes how I feel with the story that I have, is, well, you either believe it or you don't, right? And if you don't, it's almost like there is no fault. There isn't no right or wrong. It's if you're stuck in a black and white room, you haven't seen the color. And I was stuck for a little while in needing to be believed because I had experienced something so phenomenal. And now it's like, who cares? Who cares whether you believe me or don't? Anyway, back to the movie.
Chaos theory was a way for me to understand the unbelievable catalysts in a scientific way. Is this voice okay? Is it not this weird? Is this too weird? I couldn't just submit to believe it as messages from God or from a cognitive cosmos capable of communication to its inhabitants. No, that would just seem too crazy. No, I had to give the logical atheist in me an answer.
When presented with uncanny coincidences and an array of seemingly unfathomable yet distinctly connected events, it becomes impossible to dismiss the evidence that you are witness to. And then reality just transforms.
So you place an infinite amount of monkeys in a room and you give them each a typewriter that, even if they were just tapping at random, one of them eventually would write the complete works of Shakespeare. So is that what happened to me? Did I sort of travel through a wormhole and experience synchronicities that seemed like they couldn't be random? As if it was written.
I wrote a script about a pandemic. I die, metaphorically or literally. I just don't know anymore. And I come back to life and I find myself in the story that I wrote. Strange.
Was this experience some sort of rite of passage, perhaps, to attain higher level consciousness and transcend the metaphysical fourth wall? Perhaps. Or was this body, which we existed, meant to suddenly experience a renewal and become something new to benefit the whole ecosystem, like some sort of biological pacification drone, altering the very environment by mere presence, like a spark in a forest of dried leaves?
Or am I a fool for telling myself an interesting story to make what happened seem more important than it actually was? Because maybe, just maybe, there was no reason for it happening. It just happened. And if that's the case, I had everything ripped away from me for nothing.
Heavy is the head that wears the cloud.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the dead to the stage, Eric Lampaert.
Well done, me, and you, for us, for mainly